Okay. Says the Gemara. Before, we'll start with the top line. It was talking before that Onkelos went to find the spirit of Titus. He's talking about a pasuk nafshe. What is he getting punished with every day? It says Kol Yuma Machnishi Le Lekimtim B'Daini Le. Every day his ashes are gathered, and the Kalule Umavdoru Aisha V'Yomi, and they burn it, and they burn him and his ashes. They bring his ashes together, like because the way he asked when he died is that he said is that they should burn his body, put his ashes all through the seven seas, and then that way Hashem will never get him. That's what he said. But Hashem did get him, and they regather his ashes every single day, put him together, they burn him again back into ashes, and they scatter it all over again. Also, Onkelos went and brought Bilam, Parasha, and Amarle. Onkelos told him, Ma choshev ahu alma. Who is choshev? Who's important in this world? He says, Amarle. Bilam told him back, Yisrael. Yisrael is choshev in this world. He said, should I join them? Should I become Jewish? Amarle. Bilam told him, Lo tidru shlomim tovasim kol yomim. Don't go after them. Don't go for their shalom. Don't go for their tov. Just don't go with them. Amarle. So Onkelos told him, Dine da'u gavra b'mai. So what's your punishment? Why are you in Gehenim? And Amarle. So Bilam told him, B'shichva zera v'tachlas. He's being boiled in zera. Oziel oske b'negida lepesha Yisrael. Then Onkelos went and found someone who is from Klal Yisrael, a Jew that's in Gehenim. And he told him, he asked him, Amarle, ma choshev ba'ahu amma? Who's choshev in this world? He said Yisrael, also like Bilam said. Ma'ale duke behu, should I join them? And he said, Amarle, he said to Onkelos, toivasam drosh ra'asam lo tidrosh. You should go for their toiv, for their benefit, but you shouldn't go for their bad. Whoever touches them is like someone who's touching their eye, their pupil of their eye, that they're causing harm. Amarle. So Onkelos told him, Dine dahu gavra b'mai, why are you in Gehenim? Amarle, but sovos rotochas. He's being boiled in a person, whatever they go to the bathroom for, and it's because he did avodah zarah. Damar mar, because it says, Kol hamalek al divrei chachama, anyone who makes fun of the divrei of the chachamim, nidon b'tzoyva rotochas. He's punished with this boiling bad stuff. So Gemara says, further, he says, Ta chazi, ma bein poshe Yisrael and Nevi'u Masa'ilom. Come and see the difference that there is between a person that's a Jew that did an Aveira compared to someone who had Giloi Shechina, someone who spoke to, that Hashem spoke to, which was Bilam. He says, Oivdei avodah zara. The difference is that someone that still did an Aveira told him you should still join the Jewish nation, you should still do the right thing. But someone who was part of the other world, he was the guy, and he was able, and he had nevuah, he still had a gilui, he still had a revelation of Hashem. He still was part of that idol worshiping nation. So then he told him not to join them. Okay, so the Gemara says, Tanya, we learned in a brisa, Amar Belazar, Bo'arei kama gedola koicha shel busha. You should come and learn how great is the power of embarrassing someone. Shari see HaKadosh Baruch Hu es Bar Kamsa, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu helped Bar Kamsa, even though Bar Kamsa caused the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. He destroyed the Beis HaMikdash and he burned up the Hechal. It says Tarnagola v'Tarnagolota charev tur malka. As a result of the Tarnagol and the Tarnagola, the Har HaMelech was destroyed. It says the Havu Nehige, Ki Havu Mafki Chasana V'Kala. When the minhag was in those days that when there would be a wedding for the Chassan and Kala, they would do Mafki Kamar Tarnagolta. They would bring a Tarnagola and a Tarnagolta, and Klaimar to tell them is that Pruruvuka Tarnagolim. You should be fruitful like the chickens and the hen. So Yom Echad Hava Chalev Gunda Deremai. One day, this group of Romans that were part of the army were passing by. When this was happening, Shakinu Minayu, and they took the rooster in the hand, Naflu Alayu Machunu, and the people got so mad that they killed these Romans. Also, Amrulay the Kesar, they came and they told the Kesar, Mardu Bach Yudai, the Jews went against you. Also, Alayu, the Jews then the Kesar went on to the Jews to fight them on Har HaMelech. Hava Behu Ahu Bar Drema. So when there was this encampment of the Jews over here in Har HaMelech, there was a certain person that was called Bar Drema. He was from the south. The Hava Kafetz Mila. He would be able to jump a mill, the Kultul Behu, and kill the Roman soldiers. Shakli Kesar Latagi Botvi Ara. So the Kesar took his crown and put it on the ground. Amar, he said, Ribunei de Alma Kule. He was talking to Hashem. He started davening to Hashem. The Kesar said, Master of the world, Im inich loch, if you're happy with it, lotim sor lahu gavra ledidei lamachus biyadei v'gachad gavra. Don't send to the Kesar his kingdom to one man, meaning the Bar Droima that would be able to kill all of them. Actually, pume le Bar Droima ve'amar. Then the Bar Droima heard him and he said, he brought his own downfall. Why? Because he said something. He said, "Halo ata lokim zanachtanu, lo teitze lokim tivotenu." So it's in the pasuk in Tehillim. It says, "Is it not you, Hashem, that has forsaken us? Do not go forth with the God of our allegiance." So now he's saying that he's relying on his own. That the point the Gemara is trying to make is that he's going with his own strength, and he's not relying on Hashem. This is the Bar Droima, which was the Jew. So now he caused his own downfall because the Rabbi Shalom says, "How could it be that this guy forgot that you have to focus on? Everything comes from me. I'm the one that helps you." So now he's going to help the Kesar. But the Gemara says another question. David Nami Amar Hachi. It says this pasuk in Tehillim. So we see obviously that David HaMelech said this point. David Abmu'e Kal Matma. No, David HaMelech was saying it as a question. He wasn't saying it as a statement. The Bar Droima said it as a statement. So the Gemara continues. Al lebeis hakisa. So when the Bar Droima went to the bathroom, also Darkona Shamte Lakashi V'Nach Nafshe, a snake came and bit him and he died. Amar Hoyol V'Yisrachshesh Li Nisa. So the Kesar said that since he had a nes, a miracle, Hazimna Ishvekinu, he's going to leave the Jews alone for now. Shavkinu V'Oziel. Then he left on his way. Izdaku va'achlu v'shasu. Then the Jews went, they ate and they drank, they were so happy. They lit up so many candles and that you were able to see like a circle around the mountain that from a mill away. Omar, so the Kesar said, the Jews are celebrating over me like they won against me. And then he went and he attacked them again. Omar Ravasi. Razi said, 300,000 soldiers were on Har Malka. And they killed all of them in 3 days and 3 nights. But on the other side of the mountain, they were still celebrating and dancing because they thought the Kesar left. And they didn't know what happened to the other side. Bilo Hashem velo chamol eis kolno es Yaakov. Pasuk says that Hashem had no pity for everyone in Yaakov. Ki asa Rabin Omer Rabbi Yochanan. When Rabin came from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael, he said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Elu shishim riboy arayo shayu lo liyanai hamelech bar hamelech. This pasuk is referring to the 600,000 towns that Yanai HaMelech had on Har HaMelech. Damar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Vasi, because Rabbi Yehuda said in the name of Vasi, Shishim Riboy Arayos Hayulo Yanai HaMelech Bar HaMelech. Because it's a memra that we have from Rabbi Yehuda Amar Vasi that says that Yanai HaMelech had 600,000 cities on Har HaMelech. And each and every single one of them had the population, had the same amount of people living there as when the Jews left Mitzrayim. Except for 3 towns, which there was twice the amount of those who left Mitzrayim. Eluhain, and these are the 3 towns: Kfar Bish, Kfar Shilchaim, Kfar Dichria. Those are the 3 towns that had this exceptional amount of people. Kfar Bish, Kfar Bish literally means the bad city. Was called this because they did not have housing for people that were coming to visit. So the Kfar Shulchaim was called this lotion because their livelihood came from selling this vegetable. Cress. So cress, right? Kfar Dichra, and Kfar Dichra was called the city of men because Amar Rabbi Yochanan, their wives would give birth to boys first, and then they would have girls, and then they would not have any more children. So now the Gemara says, Amar Ula. Ula said, I saw Haramelech, and it could not even hold 600,000 reeds. How could it have 600,000 towns? And a Sadiki, someone who didn't believe in Torah Shabbat Peh, says, Shakurim Ashakrinu, you are lying. That how could there be 600,000 towns? Amarle be'eretz atzvi ksivba. So Reb Chanina answered the Tzadiki, and he says that it says in the pasuk, referring to Eretz Yisrael, that says the land of the deer, Eretz Tzvi. So mat tzvi. What are we learning from the tzvi? Ze ein oira machzik es besaro. Just like a deer, that the skin is not large enough to accommodate the flesh on the body. So af Eretz Yisrael, so even Eretz Yisrael, bizman sheyoshvin alei aravcha, when people live there, it expands to accommodate them. Ubizman she'ein yoshvin alei gamda, and when it's no one's living there, then it contracts. And that's also, we see that from and that's the mashal he brings from the pasuk that says it's like the deer, that the skin, the outside, the skin around it contracts and goes bigger with the more basa that it has, or less. And the Marsha points out in that Gemara, meaning we bring Ula, and Ula was Talmid Chacham, was Choshen man. So why is he asking the same question as the Tzadiki? So he's saying Ula saying as a beautiful thing. Ula was saying already knowing the answer, that it's an incredible thing that I saw it now when no one was there and you couldn't fit 600,000 reeds, but at the time when you needed it, then Hashem made it that it was able to fit 600,000 towns. And then the Tzadiki was coming to go against the rabbis. And that's the difference between Ula and the Tzadiki. Rav Manyumi bar Chilkiah, Rav Chilkiah bar Tuvia, Rav Huna bar Chia, Havu Yosvi Gabe Hadadi. So you have Rav Manyumi bar Chilkiah and Rav Chilkiah bar Tuvia and Rav Huna bar Chia that were sitting together. Amru, they said, Ika deshmiya le milsa mikfar sachni ashom mitzrayim lemo. If anyone heard something about anyone who lives in Bar Sachnia in Mitzrayim, let him talk. So Pasach Chad Minayuv Amar, one of them started talking. There was an incident of someone who got engaged to a woman in that town, and they were captured by people who were they did and they married them. Amra lo. So the wife said to her husband, she said, please do not touch me because I don't have a ksuba from you. And he didn't touch her until the day of his death. And when he died, he told everyone there, you should give, she said about her husband, you should give a hesped about this man, that he was able to fight his Yitzhahara more than Yosef at Tzaddik. Because for Yosef, it was only once in that area, in that time period, that he had to overcome the Yitzhahara for Ashes Potiphar. But this man had to fight his Yitzhahara every single day. And Yosef was not in the same bed. But this man was in the same bed. And by Yosef, it wasn't his wife. And this man, it was his wife. So then this other Rav started talking. He said, there was a town that they had the price for 40 mordios of a grain. This grain was for a dinar. And then the rate dropped by one moidaya, that a dinar only purchased 39. Ubadku. So they searched why was there a cause for this inflation? And they found out that a father and his son did an avera with a naira on Yom Kippur. They brought them to Bezdin and they gave them skila. And then the rate of the grain went back to its regular price of 40 for a dinar. Then another Rav over there started talking, and he said, there was a man who wanted to divorce his wife, but she had a very high ksuba that he had to pay. So also, what did he do? He went and invited his friends. He fed them and he gave them to drink and he got them drunk and he put them together with his wife on one bed. Then he brought the white of an egg and put it in between them. And then he brought Edim and so we brought witnesses and took these men to Bezdin to claim that his wife did znos, she did adultery, and then he's able to say that she doesn't get a ksuba. Over there was a zaken echad, a Talmid Chacham over there that was one of the Talmidim of Shammai Zaken, Ubav ben Buta Shemoy, and his name was Bav ben Buta. Amar Lahem, he said to them, Kach mekublani mishamai Zaken. This is what I learned from Shammai Zaken. Loy ben beitza soiled min ha'or. The white of an egg contracts from fire. V'shechazera doicha min ha'or. But shechazera, the semen that comes from when they were, if they were together, if that's what he was trying to show it flows away from fire. So batku matzo kedvarov, they tested it with the flame and they saw that he was right, that it was an egg. So we come out like Bav and Buta and that. So ve'viu lebezdin ve'elku. So they brought the man and they attacked him. Ve'gvu ksubasa mimenu, and then they took the ksuba from him, even though it was very high, because he tried to get away from it. Amar le Abaye le Rav Yosef. Abaye told Rav Yosef, "Ma'achar dahavu tzadikim kule hai." But since they were such tzadikim, my time out inush. Why were they the people of Shechania why were they punished? So Amar le mishum delo yabo al Yerushalayim, because they never did avelus, they never mourned for Yerushalayim when it was destroyed. The ksiv. Simchu es Yerushalayim megilu ba'kol avah sisu atam mesois kol misavlim aleh. They should glad with Yerushalayim and rejoice in it and love her and be elated with her and all those who mourn for her. And the Gemara in Tainus says a beautiful thing that anyone who's misabel Yerushalayim is also gonna see its simchasa. So it's that same point. Since they felt they were very comfortable and they forgot what it was to have Yerushalayim with the Beis Hamikdash and the Shechina, then that's why they were punished. Ashaka derifsa karev beitar. So we had a result over here of the incident that happened by the Charuge Beitar that says the Habu Nehige, they had a custom ki havu misyalid yenuka, that when a baby boy was born, shasle arza, they planted a cedar tree, yenuka shatle tornisa, and when a baby girl was born, they planted a pine tree. V'chihavu minazve, and when the boy and the girl would get married, kaitzilahu ba'avdu ganana, they would cut down their trees and make the chuppah out of it. Yom Achad, Havakachofa Barate the Kesar. One day, the Kesar's daughter was passing by. Itvar Shaka the Rifsak, and the side of her carriage broke. Katsu Arza Vayalula. So then her attendants went to the cedar tree and were going to cut it down. And we know that the cedar trees were meant for the boys for when they get married. Also, Nofo Layo Machnunu, they went and they attacked them. And they killed them. Also, Amrulay, the Kesar, the Romans then went to tell the Kesar, Mardu Bach Yudai, the Jews have gone against you. Also, Layu, then the Kesar came to the Jews of Beitar to battle against them. Godo Bachari Avkol Karen Yisrael, Pasuk says that he, Hashem, cut down with fierce, with anger on the dignity of Yisrael. Omer Rabbi Zera, Omer Rabbi Bo, Omer Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Zera said in the name of Rabbi Bo, and Rabbi Bo said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Elu shmoinim elef karni milchama shenichnusu lekrach beitar b'shas shalchdua. This is referring to the 80,000 leaders, division leaders of that entered Beitar when it was captured. Bahargu ba anashim v'nashim b'taf, and they killed all men, women, and children. Achahalach daman v'nafal Yam HaGadol, until their blood was flowing to the Mediterranean Sea, the Yam HaGadol. Shema taimar krei b'haisa. Maybe one would say that Beitar was close to the sea, but no, it wasn't. Rechaika haisa mil. It was at least, in fact, it was a mil away from the sea. Tanya, It was telling a Brisa, Rabbi Eliezer Hagadol Eimer. Rabbi Eliezer Hagadol said, "Shnei nachlem yesh bebikas Yadayim." There are two rivers in the valley of Yadayim. Echad Masechet Elech ve'echad Masechet Elech. One river flows one way, and the other one flows the other way. Mishiyaru Chamim, and the Chamim made they estimated that Shnei Chalokim Mayim ve'echad Dam. That one of these two, that Shnei Chalokim Mayim, two parts of this river was water, and one part blood. Satana, we learned in the Brisa, Sheva Shonim, Batsu, Aivdei Kochavim Es Karmeim, Midamon Sheyisrael below Zevel. For 7 years, the Aivdei Kochavim, the Goyim, harvested from their vineyards with the Jewish blood of everyone who was killed in Beitar.
שלמה המלך עליו השלום צפה שבית המקדש יחרב, וידע שרק בזמן שהמשיח יבוא.
כן. אז מה השאלה?
השאלה בקמצא זה היה כאילו הסיבה לכך, אבל התוצאה כבר הייתה ידועה.
זה בשביל שאנו, היה כוח לנו שמשיח יבוא כל היום, משלמה המלך, מכל הדורות, כן? אבל זה תלוי במעשים שלנו. אז החכמים, ושלמה המלך היה חכם מכל האדם, כן? והוא רואה את הסוף, והוא אומר, הוא רואה שהיהודים לא עושים תשובה, לא עושים מעשים טובים, אז הוא רואה שהבית המקדש יחרב, בית ראשון ובית שני, וזה, כל החכמים רואים את זה. אז זה המעשה שמביא על ידי. Okay, says the Gemara, Amar B'chia bar Avin, Amar B'Yeshua ben Korcha. B'chia bar Avin said in the name of B'Yeshua ben Korcha, Sachli Zokin Echad Me'anshi Yerushalayim, a certain old person that lived in Yerushalayim told me, the Bika Zu Horog Nevuzrodon in this valley, Nevuzrodon, was the chief of executioner for the Babylonians. He killed 211. So it comes out to 2,100,000 and 110,000 people. And in Yerushalayim, he killed 94 myriads, which comes out to 940,000 people. So that all happened on Even Achas, on one stone. Until their blood flowed and touched the dam of Zechariah Navi. That says in the pasuk, that the blood touched blood. That's what it says in the pasuk, and that's what it's referring to. That the blood of all these people flowed down until it touched the blood of Zechariah. When Nebuzaradan found the blood of Zechariah boiling on the floor of the Beis Hamikdash, so Amar Maihai said, "What is this? What's going on?" Amrulei. So they told him, "Dam zvachim di ishtapuch." It's the blood of a sacrifice of a korban that was spilled over here. Aiti dami velo idmu. So Nebuzaradan brought bloods from all different types of animals. To compare it to this, and it didn't compare to this boiling blood of Zechariah. Amar lei. So he told them, if you're telling me that this blood is good, but if you do not tell me it's not. So if you don't tell me what's going on, then I'm going to tear your flesh with iron combs, he says. Because you want to understand why it's boiling. So Amar lei. So they told him, my name Allah, what can we tell you? There was a Navi among us who would rebuke us, who would tell us to do tshuva. We came and we killed him. And it's now many years that his blood never rested. It's just boiling. Amr lahu. So Nebuzaradan told him, I will appease him. Sanhedrin Gedoyla Sanhedrin Kitana. He brought them the Sanhedrin Gedoyla and the smaller Sanhedrin. Katul Ivoi. And he killed them over Zechariah's blood. But it was still boiling. He still brought Bachrim and he brought Basulis, and its blood was still boiling. He brought children, school children, and he killed them over Zechariah's blood, and it was still boiling. Amarle, he said, Zachariah, Tovim shebehem ibadtim. He took away their best people. Do you want me to kill all of them? And when he said that to the blood, it finally stopped boiling. Here her tshuva b'daite. At that moment, thoughts of tshuva entered his mind. Amar, and he said, now what's the punishment for killing one soul? Someone who killed so many people, how much more so is he deserving punishment? Arak, and he ran away. He went and he sent a shtar, a document, instructing his family to what to do with his property. And he was misguided to become Jewish. He became Jewish. And now that we're going to talk, that we mentioned that the Jordan did a ger, he became a ger. So the Gemara is going to talk about another case where someone also became a ger. So Tana, it says in the Brisa, Naaman ger Toshav haya. Naaman was a ger Toshav, which means that he was shomer mitzvahs in Eretz Yisrael. So he says Nevuzodan ger tzedek haya. Nevuzodan was a true ger. Mibnei banav shel Haman limdu Torah b'Bnei Brak, and the descendants of Haman taught Torah in Bnei Brak. Mibnei banav shel Sisra limdu tinokus b'Yerushalayim, and the children of Sisra taught Torah in Yerushalayim. Mibnei banav shel Sancheriv limdu Torah b'Rabim, and the children of Sancheriv taught Torah in public. Maninun, who were they? Shmaya v'Avtalion. Who were the children of Sancheriv? They were Shmaya and Avtalion. It says the Gemara, Hainu Diksiv. It says in the pasuk, Nasati as dama al tzchiach sola labilti hakasos, that Hashem placed her blood on a smooth rock, so it will not be covered. So it's not going to absorb into the ground. It's going to stay on top. So it says, and it says so it's mentioned another pasuk says, Akol kol Yaakov vayadayim midei Esav. The voice is the voice of Yaakov in the hands of Esav. Akol zeh Andranios Kesar. When at first the kol, it's referring to Hadrian the Kesar, Shaharag, Alexandria, Shal Mitzrayim, Shishim Riboy, Al Shishim Riboy, that he killed in Alexandria 600,000 people plus another 600,000 people. Kafayim Kiyotz Mitzrayim, twice the amount of people who left Mitzrayim, Kol Yaakov, and when it's referring to the Kol Yaakov, Ze Absanios Kesar, it's referring to what he's known as Vespasian, Shaharag Bekrach Beitar, Arba Meos Riboy, that he killed in Beitar 4 million people. Ba'amri law, Arba Alpayim Riboy. And some say that it was actually 40 million. And when we say that the Yadayim, the hands are the hands of Esav, it's this referring to the Malchus HaRashah, which were the Romans, the evil government of Rome. Shechriva es baitenu besarfa es echalenu ve'giltanu me'artzenu, that they destroyed the Beis HaMikdash and they burnt down the Hechal, and they sent everyone out of Eretz Yisrael. They sent everyone to Golus. Dover Acher, another explanation here of the pasuk says Hakol Kol Yaakov, is this Ein Lecha Tefillah Shemo Ela She'im Ba Mizaro Shel Yaakov. There's no tefillah that's going to be successful unless he is a descendant of Yaakov. V'yadayim midei Esav, and the hands are the hands of Esav, is that Ein Lecha Mechama Shenotzacha She'im Ba Mizaro Shel Esav, and you won't have a military that has victory unless they are descendants of Esav. Continues the Gemara and says, "V'hainu d'amar Rabbi Elazar." This the Rabbi Elazar said. It says in the pasuk, "B'shait loshon techeva." When the tongue is shait, you should hide. You should hide. It says techeva. So that means that b'cherchure loshon techeva, from the contentions of the tongue, from loshon hara, you should hide. Amar Yehuda Marav. What does it mean when it says Al Naros Bavel Sham Yishavnu Gam Bachinu B'Sechenu Etzion, that on the rivers of Bavel, there we sat and we wept and we remembered Tzion, we remembered Yerushalayim. She'ero HaKadosh Baruch Hu LeDavid. This teaches us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed David HaMelech Churban Bayis Rishon, Churban Bayis Sheni, the first Beis HaMikdash being destroyed and the second Beis HaMikdash being destroyed. Churban Bayis Rishon, he showed that the first temple being destroyed, it says Shenamar Al Naros Bavel Sham Yishavnu Gam Bachinu. From this pasuk that they sat there and they cried. It says Bayesheni. How does he know Bayesheni? Because it says Diksiv Zechor Hashem Livnei Edom From this pasuk says that Hashem should remember the day of Yerushalayim for the tenants of Edom, and for those who say destroy its very foundation. Amor Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Shmuel. Rabbi Yehuda said, B'Shem Rabbi Shmuel, V'Tema Rabbi Ami, and some say it was also Rabbi Ami. But Amri Law b'Masechta Tana, and some say it was a Tana that the Tana Brisa. There was an incident in which 400 boys and girls were captured and taken to Rome to do bad things. And they understood why they were what they were wanted for and why they were captured. Amru, and they said to themselves, if we jump off this boat and we drown in the sea, then we're going to come to Olam Haba. The oldest one of them answered this question, because it's asked the question, really, if we jump off this boat, will we get Olam Haba? So he said to them, it says in the pasuk, Amar Hashem Bashan Ashiv Yam, that Hashem will bring back Bashan from Bashan, and will bring it back from the sea. Bashan Ashiv, from Bashan they'll come back. Shine Aryeh, they'll bring that from beneath the teeth of a lion. So Ashiv Mimsulus Yam, and he was bringing them back from the depths of the sea. Elu Shetoivim Bayam. These are the people who drown in the sea. When the girls heard this, they all jumped off and they plunged into the sea. The boys made a kal v'chomer. They started saying to themselves, Ma halalu shedarkam lekach v'kach. Now, if these girls whose fate is to act like this, it's a natural thing for them in a way. Anu she'ein darkenu lekach, us who it's not a natural thing to do this, alachas kama v'kama, they have to jump up. Avheim kafsu l'seichayam. So even them, they jumped into the sea. V'aleim akasu vaymer. And for them, it says the pasuk, Ki alecha haragnu kol hayom nachshavnu ketzayin tivcho. Because for your sake, we are killed all the time, and we are considered as tzayin, as sheep that were brought, that were slaughtered. Rabbi Yehuda Amar, Rabbi Yehuda says, Zu Isha v'Shiva Banea. Rabbi Yehuda says that this is going on the Maisa of Chan and her 7 sons. Asayu Kamal Kameh the Kesar Amruleh. They went in front of the Kesar. They brought the first son in front of the Kesar. He said, bow down to this idol. Amr Lahu, and he said to them, Kosu b'Torah Aneichi Hashem Lokecha. It says in the Torah that I am Hashem your God, and he's not going to do it. Akaftu v'Katlu. They took him away and they killed him. Then they brought the other son, the 6th son, to the Kesar, the second oldest. They told him, bow down to this idol. Amr Lahu. He said to them, it says in Torah, you should never have another God before me. They took him and they killed him. They brought the 3rd son. They said, bow down to this avodas kochavim. Amr Lahu. And he told them, it says someone who sacrifices one who sacrifices to another god that's not Hashem is going to be destroyed. They killed him. They brought the other son and they told him, come bow down to this idol. And they told him, it says in Torah, do not bow down to another god. They took him and they killed him. They brought the other son and they said, bow down to this idol. Amr Lahu, Kasuv. It says in the pasuk, Kasuv b'Torah, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Hashem is the only God. Afku v'Katlu. They killed him. Asayu le'idach Amruleh. They brought another son and they told him, Palach la'avodas kochavim. Bow down to it. Amr Lahu, and he said to him, Kasuv b'Torah, v'yadata hayom v'ashevosal le'valecha ki Hashem hu Elokim v'shamayim v'al v'aretz mitachas ein oid. It says in the Torah that you know that this day to take your heart that Hashem is the only God in heaven above and on the earth below, and there's no other. Afkova Katlu, they killed him. They brought in another son. They said to him, bow down to the idol. Amr Lahu, and he told them, Kasu b'Torah as Hashem ha'amarta v'gomer v'Hashem ha'emricha hayom. It says in the Torah that Hashem it's only Hashem, that He's to be our God, and Hashem is singling out today to be that we are His people, that we only serve Hashem. And we already swore to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we're never going to have another God. And He even swore to us that He will never change for another nation. Amrle Kesar, the Kesar told him, Ishti loch gushpanka, I'm going to throw my ring down to you. Ukhin v'shakle, just bend down and pick it up. Just so people will say that you accepted the king's authority by bowing down to him. Amarle, Chava Allah Kesar, Chava Allah Kesar. Chaval to you, Kesar, Chaval to you, Kesar. Al kavod atzmecha kach, you care about your honor so much. Al kavod HaKadosh Baruch Hu al chas v'kama, how much more so we have to care about Hashem's honor. Afku lemikle, they took him and they killed him. Amar lehu ime, his mother said to them, Yavuuni lai v'ishkane purta, give me a chance to at least give him a kiss before they kill him. Amar loi, she said to him, Banai lechu v'imru la'avram avichem. Go when they kill him, she was telling him that you should go tell Avram your father, Amar Avinu, Ata akata mizbecha echad. You brought one son to be a carbon, which was Yitzchak, and I brought 7 sons. Afhi also legag v'naflo mesa. She went onto the roof and she fell down and died. Yatsa baskol v'amra. Then a voice from Shemayim came out and said, Eim habanim smecha. The mother of the children is happy. Rabbi Shua ben Levi Amar, Rabbi Shua ben Levi said, Zum mila shenitla b'shmini. We are saying that this is referring to the mitzvah of Milah that is done on the 8th day. That's going on that pasuk of Eim habanim smecha. We'll say. So Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Amar. My bad, it was for a different pasuk. When it says Ki alecha aragnu kol hayom chadshon k'tzayin tivcha. So when we say when the pasuk says Ki alecha aragnu kol hayom chadshon k'tzayin tivcha, Rabbi Shua ben Levi says it's referring to the milah shenitna b'shmini that was given on the 8th day. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Amar, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish says Elu talmidei chachamim shemarin hilchos shchita ba'atzman. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish says this is referring to the talmidei chachamim that demonstrate the halachos of shchita to themselves. The Amar Rabba, that Rabba said that it's a life-threatening practice because it says kol mili lichsi inish b'nafshe. One may demonstrate anything on himself bar mishchita v'davar acher, except for shchita and something else, was referring to tsaras. Now the Gemara brings another explanation of that pasuk. Says Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Amar, Elu talmidei chachamim shemasinin atzman al divrei Torah. It's referring to the talmidei chachamim that kill themselves over divrei Torah. Reb Shimon ben Lakish, like Reb Shimon ben Lakish says, don't Reb Shimon ben Lakish, ein divrei Torah miskayimim. Divrei Torah does not stay in a person unless someone kills himself over them. It says this is the law of a man who dies in a tent, and we know that the oil is referring to the Beis Medrash. So it's someone who has to kill himself over the Torah in the Beis Medrash learning. So Amar Rabba bar Barchana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi bar Barchana said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Arbaim saw, you have 40 saw, Kitsutze tefillin nimso b'raishi aruge beitar, that of tefillin that was of casings that were found on the heads of those that were killed in Beitar. Rabbi Yanai bar Rabbi Yishmael Amar, Rabbi Yanai the son of Rabbi Yishmael says, Sholosh kupois arbaim saw. There were 3 boxes of tefillin. Each box was measuring 40 saw. B'masnisa tana, and we learned in a brisa, arbaim kupois shal sholosh saim. That 40 boxes of tefillin, each box was measuring 3 saws were recovered. They were able to get from the Haruge Beitar. Another opinion over here says Gemara v'lo pligi. However, they don't disagree, these opinions. Ha dereisha, this one that says that we're dealing with 120 saw is referring to the ones that was worn, the tefillin shal reish, and ha de draw. And this opinion that tells us that it was only 40 saw is referring to the tefillin shal yad. So